content creators that have put everything into building their following, and that's where they're getting their income from. But then something happens, their account gets hacked, they get locked out of it. I've seen this happen. They get locked out and they have nothing. And it's not, and I think the smartest content creators are the ones that are creating businesses and that have, because they have this large following, their business is now instantly successful. Welcome back to The Broke Billionaires, where we document our daily struggles in building wealth while raising a young family. Join us as we talk creative wealth building for everyday people and couples that are struggling in a down economy. I'm Lauren.
And I'm Joshua Masari, and we'll be your hosts.
Welcome back.
Once again, here we are.
It's a little later tonight. I had a life and leadership event at church, and I got back a little bit later. So we're getting a little bit of a later start than we normally do. Hopefully I can stay awake and we can make it through this tonight, huh?
Yeah, let's hope so. You haven't always made it through these, so.
It was just one time I fell asleep.
It's true. But we are recording a little early this week because we've got some interviews lined up that we've got to get scheduled. And so we're trying to spread our time out and make sure that I'm not up till 4 a.m. editing. So I
don't know how you do that, honestly.
It's a lot of work doing these podcasts. I knew it was going to be a lot of work, but I didn't really. It's not that it's hard. It's just time consuming.
Isn't that everything we do?
Yeah. I got to go through and edit out your little snickers.
Whoops.
My heavy breathing. My straw hitting my cup.
I really need to stop laughing so much. I feel like I laugh so I don't cry sometimes.
Yeah.
This is probably the truth.
It's fine.
It's fine. What are we talking about tonight?
Oh, well, just want to reiterate for listeners out there, if you guys are finding value in what we're doing, best way you can help us out is, give us a rating. It only takes a second. Just literally click it and you don't even have to leave a review. Just click that. If you don't find value in what we're talking about, we would appreciate if you don't leave a rating because it's a little discouraging. So if you're finding value, rate it. If you're not, just, keep it to yourself would be.
If you don't have anything nice to say, don't say it at all. Is that what they say?
Yeah. I'm just frustrated because somebody wasn't finding value and decided they didn't even leave a review. They just gave us a 1-star, which is fine.
Review would have been nice to just get some feedback.
You're entitled to your opinion, but it's discouraging.
It's part of the territory.
Yeah, there's going to be haters going to hate no matter what. So, if we were like making millions of dollars or making even $1 from this and people were like, oh, you're making money from this, maybe I could understand that, but that's not the case.
No, not the case at all.
So
we'd like to make $1 off this.
Yeah. Well, maybe someday we'll get, some partnerships or some partners on deals or something, and it'll open some doors and be worth it. But it is a little discouraging when that happens. But that's just part of the game.
Maybe not. But we're gonna
keep trying.
Absolutely, it's got to start somewhere, right?
Yeah. All right. So let's do some updates. We're still broke. We're still fighting.
That hasn't changed.
We've been working on this refinance. I've been working on this for a long time. I mean, this has actually been almost a year, maybe a little more than a year, because we did this last year and we didn't have any good comps at the time. There was literally no sales in the neighborhood and no comps. And so the appraisal came in way lower than it should have. And we kind of...
Is that really when we started it?
Oh, well, right. So we did underwrite the loan and we closed it, but it was a much knowing that it was going to be lower.
Oh, that's right.
Because there were no comps. Yeah. So we knew that there was some listings coming through that were going to be closing. And one of them had closed, but it hadn't posted yet. So they didn't use it. And there was, it was just a bad timing thing.
Yeah.
So now we've got some really good comps really close and now we're redoing it, but it's just been a battle. we talked about that last week with the appraisal issue. And so got the new appraisal back, and now we're trying to get them to throw out the first one and just all kinds of other stuff. So
Fun
trying to
stuff.
figure out some insurance things that they need done. And right now, nobody's underwriting insurance in California because all the insurance companies are leaving. So that's another fun
Leaving or raising
situation.
prices. Did you see that today too?
What's that?
About State Farm raising their prices?
Well, everyone's raising their prices because they have all these losses now.
Yeah.
So
Fun stuff.
they got
Fun times to be in California.
well, not only that, they're trying to leave California altogether.
Yeah.
So like State Farm is, I think, completely one of the companies they're trying to pull out or just make it really expensive so that people don't want to underwrite with them. But yeah, insurance is getting real fun for properties. So it's just another hurdle in the world of real estate investing. Florida's going through the same thing. It keeps getting worse and worse there. And after the last hurricanes that came through, it's just getting that much harder to get insurance. So when you're investing out of state, especially if it's not your area, make sure you're getting insurance quotes and looking at insurance on the property you're looking at, because that can make a big difference in the deal itself. So insurance has never really been much of an afterthought. It was just kind of an afterthought. It was never really something you really calculated in. It was kind of always a set price, I would say pretty like across the board all over the US. And it's just kind of been, you just knew, okay, that's the price of the home. The insurance is going to be around here, and it's always kind of hit that. But now all of a sudden, you've got certain parts of the country.
I think it's pretty market specific too, with like certain.
Right. Well, it hasn't always been that way.
No,
but now,
it hasn't.
Yeah, now
it is
like,
now.
Now it's like, oh, California fires. Nobody wants to insure that, or they're going to
Florida hurricanes
4 times that. Same with Florida.
Yeah.
Like all these places that have more natural disasters.
I remember
really
that started in
up.
Florida becoming an issue when I was still doing mortgages. That's when I really started to notice it, was having clients that were having a really hard time getting insurance, renewing insurance.
Yeah.
And it's just gotten worse. So
yeah, it's crazy. We have an investment property that we got a do not renew notice because it has a cedar shake roof, which has a warranty. It's still under warranty. We actually had it renewed a few years ago and paid all this money to go through it. They're like, nah, the roof's not that old. Like, it's in pretty good shape. And they, replaced some things and put this new fire retardant on it. And it's still under warranty, but the insurance is like, nope, we don't do that. So, I mean, we wouldn't have done a cedar shake roof if it was up to us, but it was just on the house, and it was like a new enough roof that didn't
it didn't make sense to replace.
So it's a big property and a big roof to replace, but we were hoping to get at least another 4 or 5 years out of that. But I don't know. We'll see if we can find an insurance company when this one is up. So anyway, that's my rant about insurance these days. All right. So what do we got for updates other than that?
Let's see. We are currently marketing to the neighborhood we want to move to in exchange for rent credit.
Yeah,
that's one of our updates.
Something that's, whenever we're getting ready to buy another house or move, we always do something that's off the wall, out of the box. I don't think, when people are looking to move, I think they just look for a place and go rent it or buy it or whatever.
Yeah.
Hire a realtor if you're looking. Yeah. We like to do things difficult. So
ongoing theme of the show.
I feel like every time like the last couple times we've moved, we've done this too. And we don't always get a deal this way. As a matter of fact, I don't think it's ever actually worked. Like, we get leads and we talk to people.
I was gonna say,
and there's deals that come by, but we end up finding something else that makes more sense or has more equity or is a better deal. And we don't end up getting our deal through this marketing. But I feel like when we do this and make this effort, all of a sudden doors start opening and other things like pop up, or maybe we're more aware of it, or maybe it's just the universe. I don't know. Like, it's like, oh, you're putting the effort in, like you're taking action, and then all of a sudden these doors start opening and deals start coming our way. So I don't know what it is, but it seems to work. So usually we do it to buy a house. Right now, the neighborhood that we're looking in is a little above our current pay grade. It's a very I would say like a vacation destination, more so than just the area that we're in. A lot of the properties are vacation rentals, and all the properties are start at $3 million. So
Yeah.
like I think there's some $30 or $40 million houses.
Yeah, there
in that
definitely
neighborhood.
is.
So it's definitely not, we're not there yet. We will be. We will own a house down there at some point. That's kind of our long-term goal, is to maintain a house in this neighborhood. And that's kind of our tie to California. But for right now, we really like the area. The kids like the neighborhood. We're down there all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So what we're looking to do is rent a place for now. And we put together this little marketing campaign, I guess you will, and just offering our renovation services. We're not contractors, so we're not doing it as a contractor. We're just doing it as a consultant. And basically, we're saying, hey, if you got a house that you want to rent, whether it's a vacation rental, a long-term rental, or something that you're looking to list, needs renovations and you don't want to put money into it, here's what we can do. Here's what we've done. Here's kind of the experience we have. We have a lot of connections and a lot of, contractors and vendors in place. And we would be willing to do this for you and pay for the renovations in exchange for rent credit.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, you let us live in this house for free for the next 12 months, and we'll give you this amount of money towards the project. Obviously, it's going to be a reduced rent because we're kind of living through this, but it gives an owner the ability to get a renovated property without having to come out of cash out of pocket, so without having to put their money into it, and also not having a vacant property while this is going on, because it's actually, we're not paying them rent per se, but the renovations are getting paid for, so they're still getting something out of it. So instead of just a dead property sitting there while you're putting money into it, you're no longer putting money into it. Somebody else is putting into it for you.
Right.
And, it gives us a place to live, gets us down to where we want to be in this neighborhood. And I mean, you already know half the people down there, but I feel like just living and immersing ourselves in that community, we'll get a lot more connections and we'll be able to find a longer term place once we're down there. But for now, it's just trying to get creative on finding, and there's places down there, but it's like, they're really expensive. Like the nicer ones, or the ones that are ideal, are like way out of our budget.
Yeah.
Or the ones that are just either really, really tired, really run down, which isn't bad. I mean, it's still nice. You're closer to the beach. It's really a nice area, but
which we're definitely open to. But I think it still has to make sense for our family size wise and amenities and certain things that, especially with a newborn, that will ideally be down there for. Just some things that you can't, honestly, some of them are just not safe. They're like original properties.
Well,
They're
some of them like
these crazy health hazards, like super steep staircases.
Yeah.
There's been a couple I've seen that I'm like, this isn't, there's some aspects of it that aren't bad, but there's some non-negotiables for sure.
Yeah, definitely. So we're just trying to find a place that works for us, it makes sense for us, makes sense for an owner, maybe an out-of-state owner, or somebody that's just not able to manage it themselves, or that just doesn't want to put the money into it, but they want to get the higher rents or a higher sell price. So we're just trying to find a mutually beneficial situation with somebody.
This is where we're just pretty unconventional in everything we do. And I've told some people about this and they're like, wait, what? What are you trying to do? Just go find a place to rent. And
but to do that, we'd be paying a lot, because this is
for something that's
so to get what we wanted, we'd probably be spending $8,000 a month
easily,
which is just not in the wheelhouse right now.
Honestly, more, I would say.
Yeah, probably 8 to 10.
Yeah.
Well, for 12 months, because you're going through the summer, so really, maybe a 9-month rental, but so you're probably looking more like 10 to get something reasonable. So it's definitely very, very expensive. And I mean, if you buy a place, just buying a place that needs to be tore down you're probably looking at $2 to $3 million just for a tear down lot.
Yeah.
So there's just
one that came up the other day was the one I had my eye on, and that one was 3, and that's like the worst one I've seen.
Tear down,
and that was 3. Yeah. I mean, it's not livable. It's not a livable home currently.
Yeah. So it's so we're just trying to get creative. Like, hey, how do we make this work? How do we get to where we want to live, and do that now? How do we just do that now and make this work? So we're just trying to get creative, and this is what we came up with, and we'll see where it goes. We've got some people we're talking to.
We'll see if it works. Yeah.
Don't know if anybody's going to go for it or not, but we're going to give it a go. Give it a try. See what happens.
You never know. Never know till you put it out there, right?
I mean, never know till you try. So.
What
What else?
else?
Oh, the AD. This is exciting. So this is something. This is a California initiative from 2 or 3 years ago. California passed a law about ADUs, non-conforming ADUs. So there are a lot of ADUs in California, all up and down California, especially in the beach cities and the more populated areas. Um, a lot of them are not permitted. I would say probably the majority of them are not permitted because there's always been so much red tape on getting permits. You couldn't do these, and all the state and these cities have just always made it so difficult to do this. With setbacks and all this stuff, it just it makes it nearly impossible in some situations to get these ADUs permitted. What California did a few years ago because of the housing crisis to try to encourage ADUs and just healthy, safe living for people. One, they walked back a lot of the regulations on ADUs and restrictions, so they opened it up, making it easier. So just setbacks, smaller setbacks, and things that didn't really make a lot of sense, but they've made it a lot easier and fast tracked a lot of these programs to getting these ADUs permitted. And a few years ago, they came out with legislation to be able to, because they know there's so many non-permitted ADUs. But at the same time, they don't want to just go and force people to tear them down because then all of a sudden you just lost a bunch of housing.
Mm.
So what they've done to encourage safe and living environments and people being able to keep these legally is that any ADU built before, I think, January 1st, 2020, that was not permitted, they are allowing these to go and get retroactively permitted without having to go through all the inspections that you would normally go through for the building process, from all your rough in and everything. So basically, it does have to meet certain safety standards and certain criteria. But if it's a safe living environment and passes these different safety criteria that they've got listed, you can get a certificate of occupancy and get the space permitted without having to open up all your walls and get everything checked like you would normally in a situation like that. So Costa Mesa, they did this. LA last year adopted this legislation, and we were hoping that Orange County would follow. And Costa Mesa just adopted this year. So it went to effect last month. So we're looking into this because we do have we bought a house with an ADU that was built in the mid 90s or early 90s. And it's built pretty well, but with the setbacks, that was 10-foot setbacks, and a setback.
That's really the only reason you were concerned about it not passing, right?
Yeah, it was. So the setbacks back then, it had to be 10 feet from the back property line, which is that's quite a bit of space. Now it's I think it's like 3 or 3.5 feet or something like that. But so at the time they couldn't get it permitted regardless, but hopefully now they've got this program. You can have a third party inspector, a licensed contractor that does these inspections, come in, check everything out and say, yes, you can get this approved, or no, or here's what you would need to do to pass the safety inspection.
And you were saying that was to not deter people from going about the process, or what was the point of the third party?
Yeah, because people are scared to call a city and be like, hey, I've got an illegal building. Like, can I have somebody come here and check this out? And
see.
Okay. And so a perfect example of this is that when we bought the property, or maybe we might have not bought, we might have been in escrow and hadn't closed it yet. But I remember calling the city and I was like, hey, we're looking at buying this property. It's, I'm pretty sure it was before closing because we hadn't actually
You
closed.
always check permits before we close.
Yeah, I checked permits and found all that stuff, but I knew that this ADU wasn't permitted. So I called the city just trying to find out if there was a way to get it permitted, just asking some questions. I was like, we're looking at this property. It's got an ADU. It's not permitted. Like, what's the process to be able to get it permitted? And the guy was just really, really rude. And I mean this, his exact words to me were because I was kind of beating around the bush without saying here's the address. We're going to be the owners pretty soon. Come find us. But he basically said, sounds like you have an illegal structure that we need to come out and have tore down. I was like, well, click. So
I didn't realize it was that bad.
Yeah. So I'm like, okay, I'm not going to talk about this because they're just going to make us tear it down, and I'm not even going to cross that
would have been bad.
Yeah. So we waited, we had to wait a couple years. I think it was 2 years to get it grandfathered in so that they can't tell you to tear it down. the Costa Mesa has this law, like if it's on record with the city that there is an illegal structure, and if they don't tell you to tear it down or don't force you to tear it down, after 2 years, you get grandfathered in, and then you're off the hook. I don't know if that's true or not. I didn't ask the city if it's true or not.
Probably not better.
The appraiser, it was an appraiser, like a local appraiser that told me that. But the city does know about it because when they were building in the 90s, the neighbor ratted them out, told the city that they were building an illegal structure.
Yeah.
So it's on file. I even pulled up the complaint.
Could you ask our inspector for the other project we're working on?
I'm not going to ask an inspector. I'd rather go to that's the point of the third party.
But isn't it grandfathered in now?
I don't know that. I didn't hear that from the city.
Okay.
So I don't want to ask the city.
But do they know our other property? They could look at our other properties, huh?
Yeah, I'm not going to play that game. So
yeah.
Anyhow, now they have this third-party confidential inspection that you can do that they don't even tell the city anything. You just go to this third party and say, hey, can you come check this out? Let me know if we can get it permitted or not. So that way it kind of doesn't deter people from wanting to get this done.
Okay.
So now we would love to get this done because that's another 400 square feet to add to the property and a certificate of occupancy that we aren't able to, or haven't been able to get without tearing it down and completely rebuilding it. So hopefully as soon as it's vacant, we'll get this done and hopefully get that permitted because that'll be a nice little boost in equity because right now it's renovated. It's actually really nice and it's a solid built ADU. And appraisers have always given us credit for a pool. They give us a pool credit.
That's right.
So it's valued because it's valuable, but it's valued like a pool. It's not square footage, but they view it as the value add of a pool. So we get about $50,000 for it. But once it's permitted, it's extra square footage, an extra bathroom, extra room. So I would think it would probably be at least double, maybe even more than that. So definitely worth going through the process if we are able to, in fact, get that done. So if you, and this is California, and not all cities have adopted it, but most are taking that on. So if you're in California, you have a non-conforming, which means non-permitted ADU, there may be an opportunity for you to be able to get that permitted without having to go through the normal process. So, safety inspection, you got to have the smoke detector and CO2, and you got to have, certain things. It's got to be safe. Like it can't just be like a jicky jacky, like
jicky jacky.
I don't know, like
what? Never
like just
that.
put together like. You got doors that are like 18 inches wide and just, you've seen some of those where the cabinets stand on the doors.
I've literally never heard jicky jacky.
I don't know. I kind of just made that. I think Braxton's been saying that lately, or
really?
He's been saying some weird sayings like that. He has been
saying some weird things, but
you bet it.
Yepperoo.
Oh, Yepperoo.
Yepperoo or something.
Yeah. So anyway, this could be an opportunity if you've got one of those situations. And I'm sure other states, especially ones that have housing issues, are probably looking at California and that's taking the lead on this and going to probably start adopting that as well. I think Washington and Oregon are both kind of doing the same thing. They might have I think Oregon might have done it before California. So pretty much all up and down the West Coast, this is an issue with housing, and they're starting to realize that these ADUs are already in existence. And so, hey, let's get them looked at and make sure they're safe for people because people are going to rent them out anyway and be living in them. So it's an opportunity to be able to add that to your property as an actual square footage building. So,
definitely.
So that's nice.
Absolutely.
Just a quick disclaimer. The information shared on this podcast is for informational purposes only and should not be considered as financial, tax, or legal advice. Always consult with a qualified professional before making any financial decisions. Your individual circumstances may differ and require specific strategies not discussed here. Now, let's get back to the show.
Well, we are talking tonight all about mindset and mental toughness.
This is all you, huh?
I
think we're very different in this in some ways.
In some ways, very, very different.
And what I mean by that is I feel like we're like a good check and balance for each other. I feel like I always see like the glass is half full. I'm always very optimistic. Even when I shouldn't be, I'm probably overly optimistic.
Mm-hmm.
I think it frustrates you at times. You're like, why are you so optimistic? Things are really bad right now.
It doesn't frustrate me. I admire the fact that you don't let things get to you, but at the same time, I almost feel like should, like, I don't know. Shouldn't this be bothering you? It's a good thing it doesn't, because I probably would be more upset if I did see it bothering you so
Well, it's not that
much.
it doesn't bother me. It's just that I don't let it
Affect
hinder.
you.
Yeah, I don't let it affect me, and I don't let it hinder like I am the prize. It's like, yeah, it sucks, but I don't let it hold me back. It just
For
kind
sure
of
gets me down. It for sure
it
affects me a
affects you a
lot
little more than it
harder.
affects me. Yeah, that's true.
Hormones could be playing a part in this as well, in this current state that we're in. But I think overall, you definitely handle things. Your mental toughness is like next level compared to mine. I mean, people tell me all the time they don't know how I handle like what we do, but I think that's like we've built it up, and it's something that we've just like, because you've told me like you looking back, 5 years ago, like you would handle this completely differently. So I think part of that is we've built up a tolerance in a way, but you are yeah, you can handle it pretty well. I don't know how you do it, but you do.
Yeah, and I don't know where I got that from either. I don't know if it's just if I've always been that way, or if it's just just from the education I've gotten over the last several years, just reading books and podcasts and just kind of educating myself and listening to individuals that are very motivated. I don't know if that's kind of rubbed off on me or if that's just always been my mind. I feel like it's kind of always
I
been
think
my
it's always
mindset,
been your mindset as long as I've known you.
but I think I've gotten a lot of motivation from, for example, I've always had people that say I work too hard, you work too much, you work too hard, like you need to take it easy, like slow down, smell the roses.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, do they have a point? And then I'll read a, I'll read, Grant Cardone is really good at this. I'll read a Grant Cardone book and then I'm like, I'm not doing enough. Because that guy's like way over the top, like goes 150% all the time.
Yeah.
But I'll read one of his books and then it's like, okay, I'm good. I'm not doing too much because this is somebody who's just done that all of his life, like 150% and gotten to where like he visualized where he was going to get to and he got there.
Mm-hmm.
And he didn't get there by taking it easy.
Yeah.
It was 150% all the time. So I get something like that that'll kind of like push me like, no, you're like stay the course. You're doing it right.
But then I balance you and say like, no, we do need to take a step back.
And then I usually just run faster. No, that's not true. I've slowed down
Not
a
true.
little bit.
Since we've had kids, you have been much better at that. And I think too, like realizing how fast it goes, like our oldest is going to be 5 this week, and it's probably been a little harder on me than you. Just seeing how fast the last 5 years has been. Something about 5 really is really hitting me with him. Mm-hmm. But I think you've become really good at turning it off when you come home and spending that family time.
Yeah. So I have an hour in the morning. So the kids get up at 7 and I don't even look at my phone from 7 to 8.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's just family. Get the kids up, get them dressed, get them fed, get them out the door. And then 8 o'clock, it's like my phone starts ringing and I turn work back on. And then same thing at night. I get home from work, 5 o'clock, and then usually like 5:30. And then from that 5:30 to till they go to bed at 7 or 7:30, it's family time. And I don't, turn the phone off. Just don't. You just. And I even tell my customers like, hey, if I don't answer you, like, it's family time. I'll get back to you later at night when I start working again. But that also came from Grant Cardone, actually.
Did it really?
Yeah. So he's a little more. I carve out a little more time for family than he did, but when he was like really in the thick of it, before he's at where he's at now, he would do 30 minutes in the morning and 30 minutes at night, and that was it. So I do an hour in the morning and a couple hours at night. So that. You know what? I'm kind of balancing it out in the middle. But basically, the point is, with our wealth building journey and just everything that we're on, like working towards, we have this mindset. We act as if we are going to get where we're aiming for, where we're trying to get to. Like, we act as if we're very, very wealthy and have $100 million and have these properties, live wherever we want to live. And we act as if that is going to happen. And we plan as if that's going to happen. and plan where we're going to live and how we're going to get there.
I would say act as if in our mind we're not
spending money, blowing money. Yeah.
yeah.
So we act, but what I'm saying is that we act as if we are going to get there
Right.
in life. So we are making plans based on that happening and getting to that point. We're picking out where we're going to live and where our kids are, going to school and going to go to school. And like,
there's nothing that really comes our way that we say we're not going to be able to afford that or
right.
we can't
Yeah.
get there. Like if something comes up, it's more trying to figure out how can we get there? Do we need to pivot our plan? Do we need to, and again, this really started back when we were engaged and kind of looking at where we wanted to settle and, well, we thought settle at the time, raise our family. I think we knew we weren't going to be settled for long, but really just looking at kind of where we wanted to raise our family and how we were kind of working backwards of how we were going to get there. Right.
Yeah. So I feel like it's not just like the monetary aspect and wealth building. It was, we talked to before, and I don't think a lot of couples do this. I don't think they have these type of, not that they don't have aspirations, but they don't have these conversations like about how we were going to get there, where we're going to live. We talked about our kids. We talked about we had our first.
Again, we were talking like as if they were here.
So we talked about the kids and we already had names picked out and we talked about the things we were doing with our kids, and we had a lot more kids than we were originally talking about. Well, it was supposed to be 2 kids.
Double.
Supposed to be a boy and then a girl, and they were named. And then we had another boy. We had a boy, and then we had another boy, and that just threw a whole kink in the plan. So we had to pivot because we didn't have a choice. And so we had to come up with another boy name.
Yeah.
And then adjust to the 2 boys in car seats, not a boy and a girl. And then the girl came. And then we decided to pivot again and throw another kid in there just for the heck of it.
Then choosing a boy and a girl, because we don't know what we're having. We had a boy name picked out. A girl name was a little harder.
We don't even know what we're having now.
We don't know what we're having.
Because it wasn't part of the plan. So we're just like,
and honestly, I'm so okay with it. You didn't think I was going to be okay with it.
Didn't.
And maybe we're just so busy and have so much going on, but I am so this is so not my personality to be okay with not finding out a gender, but I feel very at peace with it and excited. And the kids, Isla's obviously too young to know what's going on, but the boys are convinced it's a girl. They might be pissed if it's a boy, especially our oldest. I think will be a little upset, but he'll be good.
We'll see what happens.
But
yeah, so we visualize, where we're going to be at in life, and then we get there. Like we talked before.
We set a goal to get there.
Before I bought our first house together, it was like, we're going to have this many houses in the area, and there'll be rental houses, and we keep buying another house every few years, and that's not something that most people do. It's very unusual in this area, in today's market, and it's very difficult to do, but we keep finding ways to do it. So, we visualize these things and then figure out a way to make them happen. We're not the type of people that think, okay, this area is too expensive. Like, it may not be in our budget now, but we don't say, oh, we could never afford that. We could never, this neighborhood that we're trying to move into now, like, it's way over our comfortable budget right now. It's way over our budget period.
I think everything's over our budget right now.
But it's not, we would never say, we're not saying, oh, we could never afford that.
You're
or
right.
We can't afford that now, maybe someday, or we could never afford that. So we're just not even going to think that because it's not realistic.
We're not even going to try.
And we're not even going to try and disappoint ourselves. We're like, okay, this is where we want to be at. This is where we're going to live. How can we get there? How can we get there sooner? So we're coming up with these creative, out-of-the-box ways to be able to live where we want to live. I mean, it may not be the most comfortable living situations because we'll be going through another renovation, but we're used to it now. And I think it'll be a little different. That's not our house, and we won't be tearing it completely down. And hopefully it'll be a little bit of a quicker process. But, we're trying to get creative on ways to get where we want to go.
I agree. And I think that it keeps us aligned and it keeps us working towards the same goal. And I think that that's something that we do really well is, we set these goals together. We set them very early on, like we said, in our relationship, and they've grown, they've expanded, they've changed, they've pivoted in some ways. Some ways they've stayed the same. But I think it's really important that we are aligned in our goals moving forward, and we're constantly working at them together. And I think that's something that I'm really proud of about us.
Well, yeah, like I said, a lot of people don't have these conversations before they even get married. And when we started these conversations a long time ago, and we had these conversations constantly. It's a daily conversation.
Yeah.
We're always.
It's not a matter of if, it's when.
Right. Yeah. And that's the way, that's our mentality. It's not, if this happens, if we win the lottery, if this, it's like, no, this is going to happen. We're going to get there. So let's start making plans for it.
Right.
And we'll figure out a way to get there. We don't know exactly how we're going to get there, but we're working towards that goal. There's pivots, there's this, we got this, this business that comes in here. We got, other investments and other things that may pop up. And there's other expenses along the way that we didn't plan on, but we're still like that goal. We still have the eye on the prize, and we're still working towards that.
Right.
And we don't have that mindset that we can't do that because
it's out of
it's out of the budget now. We're going to get there. How are we going to get there?
Mm-hmm.
And one thing about that, we're very, at least me, this is a big deal to me because of the mindset thing. Like just even the saying words can subconsciously give you a mindset that's negative. So one thing that I've been real adamant about is never saying that we can't afford something, because that's a mindset thing. It's a very negative mindset. We can't afford this, we can't afford that. Like maybe it's not affordable now, but it's just the phrase "we can't" or "I can't afford that," it just kind of puts you in the mindset that you're not going to ever be able to afford it, because that's just what you're born into, or that's your situation or whatever, and you're not going to be able to get out of that and rise above that. So we never say we can't afford it. Even though it's not affordable, we don't have the money for the stuff right now.
I was going to say, I've probably been a little bit bad about that recently and saying that, which I need to get out of.
Yeah, but we've always like our workaround or our way to combat that is we say it's not currently in the budget. It's not currently in the budget. It will be, but it's not currently in the budget. It's a much more positive mindset on things that you can't have right now. But rather than just throwing in the towel and saying, "Oh, we can't afford that," or "We'll never be able to afford that," it's hey, it's not in the budget right now, but we'll figure out a way to get it in the budget.
Right. I agree. Hey guys, if you're finding value or just want to follow along on our journey, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe. That would help us tremendously. You can also follow us on Instagram at The Broke Millionaires and be sure to share with your friends. Now let's get back to the show. I think this is where mental toughness comes in, and this is where you're definitely a lot better at it than I am, but not getting discouraged when things don't go according to the plan.
And they never do.
They never do. You always handle it better, like we said.
And I shouldn't say not according to plan, but it's not a straight line. Like the goal, you may get to the goal, but the way you get there a lot of times changes because life throws you curveballs, and you do have to pivot and get around a hurdle that you weren't expecting. But so that the path may change, but the end result or the finish line is still in the same, like still the same goal you're trying to get to, but you just gotta pivot and not get discouraged when something goes wrong, or when you do have to turn around, take a few steps back, get around the boulder, and then start climbing the hill again. You gotta stay motivated and just remember that, like, keep your eyes on the prize or eye on the goal.
This is where we joke sometimes, but I have zero problem visualizing, but my timeline is sometimes a little, I want it to happen a little faster than what's always realistic.
You want it to happen tomorrow.
Yeah, I'd like it to happen today, actually, is what I'd like it to happen.
My bad.
I'd like it to already be here.
You act as if it's already here, and then you realize it's not.
In my mind, it's already here, and then I realize it's not, and then I get a little discouraged. You look at our bank accounts, and then I'm like, oh, slapped in the face that it's not. But yeah, that's where I can be better for sure at that.
I guess for me, like part of it too is that I see the growth and I see that we are working towards, financial freedom and where we want to go. And I see the results of that. I can see, maybe not the cash side so much right now because we are so cash broke and so equity heavy, but I can see the equity building and I can see the growth and that's all part of getting us to where, I mean, the equity is really what's going to get us there. It's not the cash flow that's paying our bills right now that's going to get us there. We're not going to save our way to financial freedom. That's very difficult to do. But the equity that we're building in the businesses and the investments, the real estate and everything is, we see the growth. It's real. We see the numbers. We see the growth, and we know that it's working.
I think too, this is where we can look at, kind of this plan we've put in place for our family. And I always knew it was important, but I think when I was doing mortgages and I would talk to people that were literally just living off Social Security checks and barely getting by, I think that's when I really started to understand the importance of what we were building. And I knew it before, but I could see it then. And I'm a very visual person, so I needed to like physically see and understand like what you were talking about in the sense of if we don't do this, we don't have normal jobs where we get a pension or um a retirement or any, I mean,
Right.
that's not being a business owner, you don't have that. I think it's rare to find a job like that these days anyways in kind of today's world. But that really for me kind of it hit me in the face and was like, okay, this is why we're doing what we're doing, to not be in this situation where we're in our 70s and 80s and we are like scraping by because all we have is a Social Security check coming in.
Yeah, we regardless of what path we take and what other comes our what comes our way before we get to that point, we know for a fact that when we are that age, we are going to be very well off. Like, even if everything just stopped today and we weren't able to work or just had to give up, working and building wealth, whatever, we've already surpassed way beyond what the average American retires with in terms of net worth. So we may not be able to live here, live where we want to live, and live in this place that we're trying
We'd
to
be
move.
moving,
But we are already like have built up, a lot more than at a very young age. I mean, I guess I'm getting older, but for our age, we're still very far ahead of what the average American would be at because we've taken higher, more risks, and the 401k, we've taken that into our hands, and most people at my age don't have a 401k that's worth almost $1 million. That's pretty that's kind of a testament to what the sacrifices we've gone through and money we've put away into that, and then the risks that we've taken on
I
the
was going to say,
investments.
yeah, it's because of the risks and the sacrifices.
It's
hands down.
uncomfortable.
It's so uncomfortable. It's so uncomfortable.
It's a lot of work we put a lot of money in there, and we've sacrificed by not having that money for spending money because we're putting it into the 401k. And it's a lot of work to manage too. It really is a lot of work managing the 401k because there's a lot of decisions that have to be made on these properties. And the bigger the portfolio grows, the more decisions there are on a daily basis. I do spend not a lot of time, but I spend, maybe 3 or 4 hours a week of my time on 401k projects. So it does take some time.
You're
but
constantly working on it.
Yeah. But it's definitely, it's growing. It's starting to snowball, and we're really starting to see those results. And, that's just part of our nest egg that's building up. So it's definitely starting to not pay off because we're not getting paid on it, but it just, the fact that it's growing and kind of taking on a life of its own is fun to see.
What that kind of segues into, well, do you have anything else you want to say on that?
No, I mean, that's kind of in a nutshell how we get through the day. It's an every day.
Some days are better than others.
Yeah.
I would be lying if I said I didn't have complete mental breakdowns more often than not these days. But no, I think sacrifice is the word we keep coming back to because I really want to stress that this is not something like we are not trying to toot our own horns or, we're simply just trying to show that you can do this. Anyone can do this, but you have to be able to be willing to take the sacrifice
And there's risk involved too.
yeah, there for sure is, right? I mean, we could fall flat on our faces and
even with a 401k, it's not a comfortable thing. It's not like we're just putting money into an employer's 401k and we don't have to think about it and it just grows. Even though it may grow faster, we're still taking more risk because it's 100% risk on us for these decisions we make. We buy a duplex, we buy some single family properties, buy an apartment building. Like things could go wrong. It's not without risk. But the more risk you take, the more reward there is, and so
right.
That's why we're seeing such high returns. They haven't all worked out either, but there's been a lot more wins than losses, and so overall, it's trending in the right direction and at a much faster pace than it was when it was just in mutual funds.
And hoping that all these risks we've taken and being willing to be uncomfortable in this phase of our life will pay off.
Yeah.
Down the road.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's where, we kind of talk about, and this is something that we've really felt in this, really the last year, having multiple sources of income. That's something that you've always really stressed. I know you've always had a goal of how many sources of income that you would like to have for our family. But I think we've seen the importance of this past year.
Yeah. And they say in today's rich, the new rich is having multiple streams of income. They say you should have to be, financially stable and set. You should have 6 to 7 streams of income.
Which is crazy.
Yeah. It's just different. Our parents, you get a job and you work for a corporation or work for the government or whatever it is. You work for,
different.
30 years and you get a pension and then you're just kind of set. And, it's nice because you've got your set, you're on a fixed income, you know what you're getting each month and you can budget a little easier. But that's just not realistic anymore. Those jobs don't exist. People don't work for the same company for that long anymore. It's very rare to find that. People jump around. So you're not really ever
building. You can't get ahead if you don't jump around.
Right. Because you're not getting enough raises or whatever. Pensions have kind of gone away. So it's now converted over to 401ks. I know with government jobs, there still are pensions, but who knows how long those are going to be around too. So, you see cities going bankrupt or teachers unions going bankrupt and people losing their pensions because the pension fund was not managed properly and runs out of money and all of a sudden that money's gone. So,
right.
It's the multiple sources of income. And that's really what's been carrying us through because our main source of income has just not been there the last couple of years. It's just almost completely disappeared.
Mm-hmm.
But we do have other businesses and, rental income that's still, producing an income. It's not not really spinning off much extra at the end of the day, but it's covering a lot of our carrying costs on these properties and things. So at least, we haven't gone bankrupt yet. We haven't foreclosed on a property because there's rental income to keep paying the mortgage payments.
I don't know if I like that you say yet.
Well, we don't know what's going to happen.
I know,
it's a month-to-month game right now.
It's more
but
like day-to-day.
I'm just saying, we shouldn't have made it how far we've made it.
We shouldn't have. We do.
I mean, our expenses on a monthly basis are way more than the income from our main source of income right now. But because we have these other income sources to draw on and to kind of at least cover things, we've been able to stay afloat.
I think too, obviously having diversified income and different industries, right? It's like they're not all real estate based. That's
right.
You can't just have it be all one type of income, one category. What am I trying to say? Category?
I don't know what you're trying to say, but I get what you're trying to say.
No,
you definitely diversify. No, that's important because if you're all real estate, when the real estate market takes a tank, and all of a sudden all your business and investments are not spinning off the income they were, so you're in trouble. We've got the printing business, which kind of goes hand in hand with the economy. It's a lot of marketing budget and new hiring budget that generates the sales for the company. So when the economy's not good, that business isn't doing great. So
if anyone needs any marketing, let us know.
But that's starting to come back. and it kind of goes hand. I mean, everything, in a bad economy, everything's kind of bad. But there
Yeah.
are certain industries that do better. So, for example, the printing company did really great during COVID when a lot of other companies
Yeah.
didn't. So, because it was the business model didn't have an office at the time, didn't have production facility, I was able to keep, you know, go like maintaining
There
business.
was like a couple weeks there in the very, very beginning where we were like, what is going to happen?
Well,
And
everything. I think
then,
just because everything
yeah, that
stopped,
was everything
but I was able to keep operating
because of how you
because
have
it
the
was work
business
from
set up.
home, and I was able, being a distributor, and was able to keep going when other businesses weren't.
Mm-hmm.
So that helped a lot. Uh,
Was
Building up
that
the
your best
business.
year? One of them?
That was a really busy year, but the following year
That's right.
was what, because I got a lot of business and just kind of rolled
Yeah.
into the next year. And I was just like, I was working like 20 hours a day. It was
Mm-hmm.
insane. It was not
But even with
sustainable,
that, to
but
your point, because like you said, even with the printing business, you have clients in different industries. And one of those segments that we had just acquired, the travel industry, that one
yeah.
completely went away.
Yeah.
So
So
even within one
even within one
business,
business or one industry.
diversifying the clients you
Yeah.
have, and
Yeah, it's true.
I think that that's really important
Yeah.
too.
And then that's kind of the same with, real estate. We got real estate in we really have real estate all over. We've got like 5 or 6 different markets, but we've got portfolios that we own directly in 3 different markets. The California one is not as much cash flow, but we've figured out a way to make it cash flow with these midterm furnished rentals that we're doing. But that's more of an equity based portfolio.
Mhm.
That's where we get a lot of our wealth, is the equity on the California investments. And then these other markets that are not as high appreciating markets, they're more on the cash flow side, with lower entry points. But, just diversifying in different markets within real estate is important too. And
Mhm.
in different aspects of real estate. So we've got the furnished rentals we have long-term rentals, we've got single family homes, duplexes, apartment buildings. We've got some syndications and some larger apartment buildings. We do loans, so we've loaned to developers and other investors, and just kind of diversifying within real estate. So we're kind of not just we don't have one niche that we're kind of specializing in and sticking with it. We're kind of diversifying within the same industry.
Definitely. Some of those things have worked and some have not.
Yeah, they don't all work out.
They
That's
don't.
for sure.
That's, yeah, definitely not. But I think it's good and smart to have different avenues, I'll say.
Yeah, and I think, like, with the multiple streams of income, uh, it just helps weather the storm. So when one's down, others can be up, and you can kind of get through.
You don't have all your eggs in one
Right?
basket.
Yeah, exactly.
So you think, obviously, I know the answer to this, but your suggestion would be to people to, maybe not suggestion, but better to have multiple streams of income than just one, because
I think in
that's
today's
having one is riskier.
Yeah, I think in
You could
today's day and
say.
age, it's definitely a lot less riskier to be spread out like that,
Yeah.
because in today's commerce environment and economy, and just with technology, things change so fast. With technology, you know, things can become obsolete extremely
So
fast.
fast.
So you don't want to have all your concentration in one area, and then all of a sudden that becomes obsolete, and all of a sudden you're just left with nothing. So
You know what I think about when you say that is content creators that have put everything into building their following, and that's where they're getting their income from. But then something happens, their account gets hacked, they get locked out of it. I've seen this happen. They
oh
get
yeah,
locked out and they have nothing. And it's not, and I think the smartest content creators are the ones that are creating businesses and that have, because they have this large following, their business is now instantly successful. Um, those are the ones that I think that are really doing it right. But there
yeah.
is so much on the line when you're just leaving it out there, and you could get locked out of that in an instant. And I mean, I've had a couple friends with not, I would call them maybe more like micro influencers where they got locked out and everything they've worked for is just gone and they have nothing to show for it. And it's just, yeah, it
And they
kind of
had
makes me
nothing
think of
else
that.
for income
Nothing else
to
to go.
supplement that.
Yeah, exactly. They've put
Yeah.
everything into that.
Yeah, and I think another advantage of having multiple sources of income is just, I've always said it's easier to build 10 companies or 10 revenue streams that make you 100,000 a year than it is to make one revenue stream that makes you $1 million a year.
Yeah, that's very true.
You would think that like, oh, but it's only one company or one revenue stream or whatever. But a company that's making $1 million a year is not easy to get to.
Yeah.
They say like 80% of businesses fail in the first 2 years. Like it's if you look at the statistics, it's very hard to get that. So it's absolutely possible, and it's great that if your business does that and you can get to that point. But the odds of getting to that point are just not good.
Yeah.
So having 10 businesses or 10 revenue streams is a lot easier because it's a lot less work in terms of just things going on and decision making. 10 small businesses like that can actually take up less time than one larger business that's pulling you in a million different directions.
We'll have to go into, so we could save this for another episode, but just how you kind of manage that all. Because I feel like people's argument to that could be like, how do I spread myself so thin on 10 different companies or 10 different business ideas?
That's what I'm saying is because they don't take as much time, especially if you can build processes and these businesses. It's a lot easier to build a smaller business like that runs itself, that's spinning off $100,000 in income. You can build 10 of those easier than you can build one that generates 10 times that income. So, there's just two different schools of thought, and the chances of, and if you've got 10 that you're building up, whether it's investments or businesses or whatever, and one of them takes off, then great. Now you got that. Now you got that one, and you start focusing all your attention on that one.
But you still have these backup ones.
But you've got these other ones in case that doesn't work out, or if none of them take off, you've still got multiple sources of income that are generating and still growing over time. So I think that's just it's a good strategy.
Yeah, I think so too.
And another thing you can do is use different sources of income to fund different aspects of your life. Like maybe this business or this investment or this rental property, this is funding your kids' education, and that's how you're paying for that. Another source of income is, you're really diverting all of it to retirement. So it's all going into a 401k that's funded by that business or however you have that set up. But you can kind of max it out using that to fund it. You've got another revenue stream that's, your vacation money or whatever. Like, you got your main business or your main whatever. That's just that one's okay. This is going to cover our bills, our living expenses and things like that. But you can kind of diversify those different revenue streams into these different buckets in your life.
Yeah. I think that's important.
Yeah. Yeah. So definitely, I think everyone should have multiple sources. Even if you are working a corporate job, like you should still have other sources of income because you never know. You never know what could happen. The company could get acquired.
How many times have I been laid off?
Yeah, the company could get acquired, and then all these mass layoffs and people have been working there forever. You don't. I mean, you're going to get some sort of severance package or whatever, but then you got to find another source of income. So it's good to have these backups. Rental properties, side hustles. Some sort of investment that's generating income is very crucial, especially in today's workplace and environments.
Going through it firsthand, I could not agree more, because had I had that set up when I was laid off multiple times, that would have been...
For the bills keep coming.
That would have been helpful.
You lose your job, those bills don't stop.
Nope. Some companies are more generous with severance packages than others, as we've learned.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anything else to add on that tonight?
No, I think that's pretty much it. I mean, I think it's a good focus to have, and a good, if nothing else, a good backup plan. But everyone should have at least a few sources of income.
I agree. It's been a while since we've done a book recommendation. Have you read anything recently or anything you can think of that goes with this?
I'm actually reading the book that one of our guests recommended a few episodes ago. The Creature of Jekyll Island. It's about the Federal Reserve. So
Is that what Hoytman?
yeah. It's the Nick Hoyman referenced that one, but I haven't actually gotten into it, and I'll talk about it after I finish it.
Okay.
But for today, I do want to touch on the Grant Cardone books. Grant Cardone
has just a Grant Cardone focused.
So because he's always
episode.
150%, he's like all about the mentality, and I think those are really good books if you need some motivation and you're a type of person that gets motivated from that type of stuff. Some of his, I don't think he does those books anymore, but
no, early in his career he did. I've read a lot of them for sales, and they are really good books.
So he did a lot of sales books, and then he started going from sales into mindset books for a little while,
motivational and
before
mindset,
he started the capital company. So there's one that's called How to Get Motivated and Stay Motivated, which is kind of a good mentality.
I don't know if I've read
book.
that one.
Okay. And another one is Be Obsessed or Be Average. So I mean,
that's a good one.
Grant Cardone's a lot. I think he's a little too much for some people. Some people like that, some people don't. But if you're a type of person that gets motivated by somebody that has got risen to the top and got there by just hard work and grit, like Grant's definitely one of those people.
Yeah, you can't deny that at all.
Yeah, I mean, the guy's been very successful, and he's worked his butt off. So you can't say that he just got lucky. Like he 110, 150% every single day all his life to get there.
One thing I really admire about him now, especially, I don't know if it was like this always, but his family, like his kids, are so involved in what he's doing now. Like his daughter's on stage speaking at events, and she's, going alongside with him. And I think that
the whole family's 150%.
The whole family, the whole family is in it always.
He's touring right now around California, trying to rally California with all the fires that have happened. Because they have a house in Malibu that burned down, or didn't actually. The only one that didn't burn.
It didn't. It was the only one that didn't. That's a good episode.
But just because of everything that's going on politically and just the landscape here, so he's doing this not for any financial gain. It's not like he's charging money for this. He just gave up the stuff that he was working on. I think one of his companies is going public, and he just came out to California for like a month to do all these rallies and just kind of get people motivated to make changes.
Yeah.
But definitely a very
I can appreciate that for sure.
Active person and always upbeat and just goes 150% all the time. So yeah, so those are two really good books that he has on just getting motivated, staying motivated, and kind of how to find that in yourself.
Yeah.
I think that's it for tonight, though. Anything else you want to add?
No, I think that's good.
All right, sounds good, guys. All right, well, thanks for joining us once again. If you have any questions or comments, please reach out to us. Let us know. We
would love to start answering some more questions as they come in, couple per episode, maybe.
Yeah. So if you have any questions about anything that we've done, or maybe questions that you have on things that pertain to your life, we're happy to answer those at the end of our episodes. We've got some great guests lined up that we'll be bringing on in the next few episodes. So stay tuned for those, and look forward to continuing to put out this content.
Yeah. And I would say, like we said at the beginning, share with your friends. This is something that you're finding value in, especially. We would love and appreciate reviews.
Or just a rating. Just rate it. It takes literally just click. You don't even have to leave it. Just rate.
5 stars. 5-star rating would be great, guys.
Yeah. And if you don't like us, then just
then don't say anything.
Yeah, don't say anything. Don't tell your friends either.
Yeah, just keep it to yourself then.
All right, guys. Have a good night. Get out there and make it happen.
This has been a production of Rebuilding the Dream Studios.